What's Watergate? Basically, Nixon got... In the 70s, Nixon, who was a Republican president, he got, like, a bunch of fucking people. He paid off a bunch of people to break into the headquarters of the Democratic Party and steal a bunch of shit. Like, basically burglarize it and, like, wiretap the place. It was caught. And at first, he had, like, denied it. He gave a very famous speech at Disney World, of all fucking places, where he said, like, I'm not a crook. And it was eventually revealed that, yeah, he did know about it, because Nixon had this habit of, like, recording everything that went on in meetings and shit. And those recordings were discovered because he was a fucking idiot. And he was most certainly about to be impeached, so he just, like, pieced out of there, and his vice president, Gerald Ford, became president, because that's how that works, and then Gerald Ford pardoned him. Watergate was insane. Nixon and Ford should have been arrested for Watergate. Like, I'm sorry, like, Watergate should have ended with us a couple of tiers down the presidential line of succession. Like, flat out. Watergate was... If I'm being honest, Watergate was, like, kind of the beginning of, like, the shit show that is modern American politics. Because the fact that, like, a U.S. president could just orchestrate breaking, like, political espionage to that level, which, like, U.S. presidents have always done political espionage and will always do political espionage. But the fact that it could be revealed and the president just gets away with it is terrifying and not a good thing. But yeah. Listen, it makes me excessively happy, though, to see just all of these images of Trump being arraigned in DC. That's great to me. Did they lead him in cuffs? I don't think they let him in cuffs. Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't. How long do you plan to stream? I have 2 more segments to do, and then I might toss in some extra segments. I'm trying to start a more consistent upload schedule. While you were explaining it, I was disrupted from stream. The Democratic Party. Because Nixon was a Republican. This was, I believe, it happened during an election year, so Nixon paid off a bunch of people to, like, break into the Democratic National Convention's headquarters and steal some documents and wiretap the place. They can cuff him because they kept... True! And Nixon got away with it. I'm Richard Nixon. I'm not a crook. My fellow Americans, I drove a stupid bubble limo. Nixon's limo was, like, really stupid, though. He was a wacky dude. Can I... Just keep in mind, Nixon came, like... Wait, no, who had the bubble limo? Was it Johnson? Did Johnson have the bubble limo? Okay. Lyndon Johnson instead of just Johnson. Who had the bubble limo? What? President bubble limo. I know one of the presidents had, like, a bubble limo. It was, like, a limo, and, like, the back was, like, a little glass bubble. It was one of them. 1950? Whose limo was that? Bubble top presidential limo? Yeah. Yeah, whose limo was that? That was Eisenhower's limo? I thought that came after Kennedy. Okay, basically, apparently Eisenhower, I thought it came after Kennedy, but Eisenhower's presidential limo had like a glass bubble that people could see him through. I'm assuming it was bulletproof, because, yeah. And the fact that it was Eisenhower's limo, aka it came before Kennedy, just makes it like sad and funny. Especially, like, Kennedy came right after Eisenhower, too. It was Eisenhower. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah, Kennedy was president after Eisenhower. I'm sure. Who was president after Eisenhower? Because if I'm remembering in proper order, going back, yeah, it was Kennedy. Because going back in proper order, it's Biden, Trump, Obama, George W. Bush. Wait, no. Which Bush? Yeah, it was George W. Bush. And then Clinton, George H.W. Bush, Reagan, Carter, Ford, Nixon, Johnson, Kennedy, Eisenhower, Truman, FDR, Hoover, Coolidge, Wilson, Taft, and then it was Teddy, McKinley, and then I forget who comes before McKinley. Was that right? Let me check. Let me check the list. This is what Uber autism does to you. You remember the order of presidents. Okay. So I said, yeah, Biden, Trump, Obama, Bush, W. Bush. So I did get that Bush right. Clinton, H.W. Bush, Reagan, Carter, Ford, Nixon, Johnson, Kennedy, Eisenhower, Truman, FDR, and then this is where I got confused. So was it Hoover? It was Hoover, and it was Coolidge, and then Wilson. No, Harding! Fuck! Who the fuck gives a fuck about Harding? He's boring! Fuck Harding. Damn! Then BJ? Who's BJ? McKinley? No, it was Cleveland. Then Harrison. Van Cleveland, because he did it twice. Adlai Stevenson the First? What the fuck? That was his vice president? Adlai Stevenson the First. Arthur, Garfield. Garfield's fucking death was horrible, dude. I feel so bad for the guy. Like, when people say, oh wait, yeah, no. And then I know it from Hayes. So, it was Hayes, Grant, Johnson, the Dick Johnson. Lincoln, then it was Buchanan. Wait, who the fuck comes before Buchanan? Pierce! Fuck Pierce. Fillmore, Taylor, Polk, Tyler, William Henry Harrison, gotta love. Oh shit! Ah, it's the anniversary of William Henry Harrison's death. Rip Bozo. What a fucking idiot. Van Buren, Jackson, Adams, Monroe, Madison, Jefferson, Adams, and Washington, yeah. Granddad of the one that ran against Eisenhower, yeah. Who's McKinley? McKinley was president before Theodore Roosevelt. He's notable for getting his back blown out by a fucking anarchist named Leon Czolgosz. Leon Czolgosz. Yeah. Now look at this guy. He fucking blew McKinley's back out in New York. Yeah. It used to be like shockingly easy to assassinate. world leaders. Like, it was, like, shockingly easy to assassinate world leaders. Because, like, of the presidents that have died, I can probably point them out, because there have been a couple. William Henry Harrison, first dude to die in office. I'm pretty sure people attribute it to pneumonia. And, Polk died after he left office. Taylor? Yeah, Taylor died in office. I forgot. Oh, people think that he was poisoned, but it was more than likely just, like, cholera because DC's water was shit. Then who else died in office? Lincoln got fucking... Grant died of lung cancer, but that was after his presidency. Garfield got... Garfield! Oh, dude! He got shot, and there's actually a really funny podcast episode on it from Lines Led by Donkeys. They're one of my favorite podcasts. But Garfield got shot, and his doctor was incompetent. He didn't wash his hands. Garfield could have survived, but the guy kept, like, fingering Garfield's wound trying to take the bullet out and just created multiple fucking wound pathways and trying to find the bullet. Like, Garfield stayed alive for, like, 3 months after. But he had, like, bad sepsis, horrible fucking fevers. Like, I feel really bad for because Garfield didn't even want to be president! He just kinda got forced into that position because fucking Republicans couldn't decide. This was when Republicans were cool. But, like, the Republican Party couldn't fucking decide on who to make, like, their nominee. So, like, everyone just started joke voting for Garfield, and Garfield was like, no, dude, don't do me. Vote for Sherman. That's who I want. Vote for Sherman. And then he became president, and then he was just kind of like, ah, shit. Okay, guess we kind of have to do this. And then he was actually cool as a president, and then he got shot, unfortunately. So I feel bad for him. So then Arthur, and then we get Cleveland, who lost the presidency, and then Benjamin Harrison became president, which was cool, I guess. And then Cleveland again. And then McKinley, who got his back blown out. Teddy, best boy. Taft, big boy. Wilson, fuck them. Fuck Wilson. Harding, he was someone, I'm pretty sure... Oh, he died in office. Okay, so that's why no one remembered. Oh yeah, he died from a heart attack. I forgot Harding. And then you get Coolidge, who no one really kind of gave a shit about. Hoover, Franklin D., I'm pretty sure he died from complications related to polio, I think. Truman, who didn't die in office. He stayed alive for a long time. Eisenhower. Kennedy, who was the last and most recent president to die in office. He got clunked. But yeah, so that's presidential deaths. But yeah, no, dude. Grover Cleveland is like... I feel so bad for him. He did not deserve to go in the way that he went. Because again, he would have survived if his doctor just wasn't fucking incompetent. Like, if his doctor just knew what the fuck to do, then Cleveland, like, would have survived. Who do you think is the best candidate that lost a general election? Fucking Eugene Debs. Eugene Debs, our best fucking boy. Socialist. He was a socialist. He ran for president in prison. And of course, like, critical support for Eugene Debs.